Azerbaijani music is the musical tradition of the Azeri people, from Azerbaijan and Iranian Azerbaijan. It builds on folk traditions that reach back nearly 1,000 years. For centuries, Azeri music has evolved under the badge of monody, producing rhythmically diverse melodies. Music from Azerbaijan has a branch mode system, where chromatisation of major and minor scales is of great importance. Classical music. In 1920, Azerbaijani classical music had undergone a renaissance, and Baku Academy of Music was founded to give classical musicians the same support as folk musicians. Modern-day advocates of Western classical music in Azerbaijani include Fahad Bidalbilai, Fidan Gasimova and Frangiz Alizada. Opera and ballet. The emergence of opera and ballet in Azerbaijan is associated with the Imperial Russian and Soviet era of Azerbaijani history, when Azerbaijani musicians became exposed to European music traditions first-hand. The very first documented performance of an opera in Baku took place in May 1889, when Alexei Verstovsky's opera Askeld's Grave was staged at a circus arena in Baku, accompanied by the folk choir of Dmitry Agranov-Slaviansky. Beginning in 1900, opera troupes toured Baku on a yearly basis, featuring prominent singers of the time such as Natalia Ermolenko, Eugenia and Antonina Nezdanova. Prominent Azerbaijani opera singers such as Bulbul Shavkat Mammadova, Fatma Mukhtarova, Hussein Gulu Sarabsky, Hagiga Zhayeva, Rashid Baybuda, Raufat Akashev, Muslim Magomayev, Lutfaya Imanov, Fidan and Kuraman Gasimovas, Rubaba Muradova, Zenab Kandarova and many other singers gained world fame. Folk music. Most songs recount stories of real-life events and Azerbaijani folklore, or have developed through song contests between troubadour poets. Corresponding to their origins, folk songs are usually played at weddings, funerals and special festivals. Regional folk music generally accompanies folk dances, which vary significantly across regions. The regional mood also affects the subject of the folk songs, e.g., folk songs from the Caspian Sea are lively in general and express the customs of the region. Songs about betrayal have an air of defiance about them instead of sadness, whereas the further south traveled in Azerbaijan, the more the melodies resemble a lament. As this genre is viewed as a music of the people, musicians in socialist movements began to adapt folk music with contemporary sounds and arrangements in the form of protest music. Folk instruments. Instruments used in traditional Azeri music include the stringed instrument star, the kamancha, the oud, originally barbat, and the saz, the double reed wind instrument balaban, the frame drum gaval, the cylindrical double-faced drum nagara, and the gosh nagara. Other instruments include the garman, tutak, and daf. Due to the cultural crossbreeding prevalent during the Ottoman Empire, the tutak has influenced various cultures in the Caucasus region, e.g., the Duduks. The Zurna and Navhar duo is also popular in rural areas, and played at weddings and other local celebrations. Ashiks are traveling bards who sing and play the saz, a form of lute. The songs are semi-improvised around a common bass. This art is one of the symbols of Azerbaijani culture and considered an emblem of national identity and the guardian of Azerbaijani language, literature and music. Characterized by the accompaniment of the kopuz, a stringed musical instrument, the classical repertoire of Azerbaijani ashiks includes 200 songs, 150 literary musical compositions known as dastans, nearly 2,000 poems and numerous stories. Since 2009, the art of Azerbaijani ashiks has been inscribed on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Mekhana is a distinctive Azerbaijani literary and folk rap tradition. consisting of an unaccompanied song performed by one or more people improvising on a particular subject. Mekhana is distinct from spoken word poetry in that it is performed in time to a beat. Mekhana is often compared to hip-hop music, also known as national rap among Azerbaijani residents, as it also includes performers that is spoken lyrically, in rhyme and verse, generally to an instrumental or synthesized beat. Performers also incorporate synthesizers, drum machines, and live bands. Mekhana masters may write, memorize, or improvise the lyrics and perform the works a cappella to a beat. Mufam is one of the many folk musical compositions from Azerbaijan, contrast with tasnif, ashugs. Mugam draws on Arabic makam. It is a highly complex art form that weaves classical poetry and musical improvisation in specific local modes. Mufam is a modal system. Unlike Western modes, Mufam modes are associated not only with scales but with an orally transmitted collection of melodies and melodic fragments that performers use in the course of improvisation. Mufam is a compound composition of many parts. The choice of a particular mufam and a style of performance fits a specific event. The dramatic unfolding in performance is typically associated with increasing intensity and rising pitches, and a form of poetic musical communication between performers and initiated listeners. Three major schools of mufam performance existed from the late 19th and early 20th centuries: the region of Karabakh, Shirvan, and Baku. The town of Shusha of Karabakh was particularly renowned for this art. The short selection of Azerbaijani mufam played in Balaban, national wind instrument, was included on the Voyager Golden Record, attached to the Voyager spacecraft as representing world music, included among many cultural achievements of humanity. In 2003, UNESCO proclaimed mufam as a masterpiece of oral and intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Popular music. Popular music is distinguished from the traditional genres as those styles that entered the Azerbaijani musicality after the fall of the Soviet Union, either due to attempts of national modernization from 1918 onwards, the opening of the Republic to Western musical influences, and modern fusions and innovations from artists themselves. Mainstream pop. Azerbaijani pop music had its humble beginnings in the late 1950s with Azerbaijani cover versions of a wide range of imported popular styles, including rock and roll, tango, and jazz. As more styles emerged, they were also adopted, such as hip-hop, heavy metal and reggae. Azerbaijani pop music reached new level after country made its debut appearance at the 2008 Eurovision Song Contest. The country's entry gained the third place in 2009 and fifth the following year. Ellen Nicky won the first place at the Eurovision Song Contest 2011 with the song Running Scared, entitling Azerbaijan to host the contest in 2012 in Baku. The biggest pop stars in Azerbaijan are arguably Roya Aygun Kazimova and Brilliant Dardashova. Azerbaijani jazz. The Azerbaijani jazz is a popular variety of jazz, widespread in Azerbaijan. It covers a broad range of styles and often features a blend with traditional Azerbaijani music. Among modern famed Azeri jazz musicians are Aziza Mustafizadeh, who was influenced by Bill Evans and Keith Jarrett, Isfar Sarabsky, Salman Gambarov and Rain Sultanov. Azerbaijani hip-hop. The first Azerbaijani hip-hop song, Yesterday is Past, created in 1983 by Chingiz Mustafayev, who would later become Azerbaijan's national hero for unrelated reasons. The pioneer of Azerbaijani rap, often associated with name of Anna Nagelbaz in 1992, which also included elements of disco, but the popularity of the rap genre came with the rise of Dayamin, which included primarily patriotic elements. Azerbaijani rock. The Azerbaijani rock scene began in the mid to late 1960s, when popular United States and United Kingdom bands became well known. Soon, a distinctively Azerbaijani fusion of rock and folk emerged. This was called Azerbaijani rock, a term which nowadays may be generically ascribed to most of Azerbaijani rock. Cold Onion and Yuzu are the best-known group of older classical Azerbaijani rock music. Electronic dance music. There are many clubs across Azerbaijan, especially across its Baku region. The alternative music scene, however, is derived mostly from Baku's club scene that sees the DJs merging the past with the present, utilizing traditional motifs with new age sounds and electronic music.